Scientists find alien megastructures known as Dyson spheres. In a May 2023 study published in the monthly notices of the Royal Astronomical Society, scientists identified 7 potential Dyson sphere candidates among 5 million stars, suggesting advanced alien megastructures. In a recent study, researchers identified 7 potential Dyson sphere candidates among 5 million stars. This suggests advanced alien megastructures. Freeman Dyson proposed these structures back in 1960. What would be the most effective way for a developed society to resolve its energy issues? According to renowned British-American physicist Freeman Dyson's theory, a star would be fully surrounded by a shell composed of mirrors or solar panels that would absorb all of the energy it produces. In a 1960 study that introduces the idea, Dyson stated, "One should expect that within a few thousand years of its entering the stage of industrial development, any intelligent species should be found occupying an artificial biosphere which surrounds its parent star." It sounds like science fiction, and for good reason. Olaf Stapledon's 1937 book Star Makers provided the inspiration, and Dyson was never shy about citing it. The late scientist was an emeritus professor at Princeton, New Jersey's Institute of Advanced Study, and even though the physicist later clarified that the hypothetical megastructures would consist of a loose collection of swarm of objects traveling on independent orbits around the star, the concept took hold and the hypothetical megastructures became known as Dyson spheres, despite coming from a thinker who some in the scientific community say may have been worthy of a Nobel Prize early in his career. In his study, Dyson also mentioned that Dyson spheres would emit waste heat that might be detected as infrared radiation, and he proposed that a feasible approach to search for extraterrestrial life would be to hunt for that byproduct. He clarified, though, that the presence of infrared radiation alone would not prove the existence of extraterrestrial intelligence, and that the possibility of finding new kinds of naturally occurring astronomical objects was one of the main justifications for looking for such sources. Scientists at the time were largely receptive not to the likelihood that alien civilizations would be found to exist, but that a search for waste heat would be a good place to look, said George Dyson, a technology writer and author, and the second of Dyson's 6 children, via email. Science fiction, from football to Star Trek, took the idea and ran with it, while social critics adopted the Dyson sphere as a vehicle for questioning the wisdom of unlimited technological growth. It would be much more rewarding to search directly for intelligence, but technology is the only thing we have any chance of seeing, stated the elder Dyson. Although it was not possible to genuinely search for Dyson spheres in the 1960s, many researchers have recently done so, including those at Fermilab, also known as the National Accelerator Laboratory, and the SETI Institute, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, a non-profit dedicated to the search of extraterrestrial intelligence. 7 possibilities may be home to Dyson spheres, according to the recent study that examined 5 million stars in the Milky Way galaxy, and this discovery has drawn criticism and the development of competing ideas. The purpose of the investigation, whose findings were published May 6 in the journal Monthly Notices of the Royal Astronomical Society, was to look for Dyson spheres which are thought to be caused by infrared heat around stars that defies explanation. The research team examined stars that were less than 1,000 light years away from our Earth, using historical data from telescopes that detected infrared signatures. Matthias Suazo, lead study author and doctoral student in physics and astronomy department at Uppsala University in Sweden, said, "We started with a sample of 5 million stars, and we applied filters to try to get rid of as much data contamination as possible. So far we have 7 sources that we know are glowing in the infrared, but we don't know why, so they stand out," he said. Suazo issued a warning, saying that there is no concrete proof that the 7 stars have Dyson spheres surrounding them. He said, "It's difficult for us to find an explanation for these sources because we don't have enough data to prove what is the real cause of the infrared glow. They could be Dyson spheres because they behave like our models predict, but they could be something else as well. A star's unfortunate alignment with the background galaxy overlapping it, the debris from planetary collisions, or the possibility that stars are still young and encircled by disks of hot debris from which planets would eventually form, are some of the natural explanations for the infrared glow. The researchers analyzed data from two Operation Space telescopes, the NASA Wide Field Infrared Survey Explorer, or WISE for short, and the European Space Agency Gaia telescope. They also used data from the 2-micron all-sky survey, an astronomical survey of the sky in infrared light. The University of Massachusetts and the U.S. Space Agency's Jet Propulsion Laboratory collaborated on a project known as 2MASS, which ran from 1977 to 2001. All of the potential stars are red dwarfs, which are the most prevalent kind of stars in our galaxy. In addition, they are smaller and fainter than our sun, which complicates subsequent observations. Since none of the telescopes that could be able to detect planets in orbit have yet to view the stars, it's unknown at this time if the stars have planets orbiting around them. Nonetheless, the fact that a large number of hundreds of exoplanets that scientists have discovered so far circle red dwarfs increases the likelihood that they exist. In fact, planets that orbit red dwarfs have a higher probability of supporting life, according to NASA. Infrared anomalies were also discovered in a sample data set of 5 million stars in our galaxy by a previous study that was released in March and used data from the same sources as the latest paper. We have identified 53 candidates for anomalies that defy explanation, but we cannot conclude that they are all Dyson sphere candidates, as that is not our specific focus, said Gabriella Contardo, the lead researcher of the previous study and postdoctoral research fellow at Trieste, Italy. She went on to say that she would compare the prospects to Suazo's model to determine how many fit into it. You need to eliminate all other hypotheses and explanations before saying that they could be Dyson spheres, she said. To do so, you need to also rule out that it's not some kind of debris disk or some kind of planetary collision, and that also pushes the science forward in other fields of astronomy. So it's a win-win, she said. So don't hold your breath, though, as humanity is far from possessing the raw resources and technology needed to construct and measure imaginary structures like this. They're so big that everything we have on Earth would not be enough to build them, Suazo said. Freeman Dyson said that we should dismantle Jupiter, the whole planet, for the raw materials. And given their supercolossal scale, Dyson spheres are the most likely extremely uncommon, assuming they exist at all. And this is on Great Game India. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. My Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.